Dumped at the altar, a billionaire stranger shocks everyone by stealing a kiss and claiming her as his bride. Welcome to Beyond Color Stories, my cherished YouTube family. I'm your storyteller, James, and I'm truly grateful you're here. Wherever you are in this vast, beautiful world, I hope you are safe, strong, and smiling. Before we begin today's heartfelt story, I have a question for my loyal James's family. Who's here with me right now? If you've been with me through every beat of these love stories, please drop a yes in the comments. I want to know who's walking this journey beside me. To each of you listening, may love fill your days, peace guard your heart, and may you always find light, even in the darkest moments. I pray what you've been waiting for arrives in the most perfect way in time. You deserve nothing less. If my stories have ever stirred your heart, brought tears to your eyes, or rekindled your belief in love, please subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to a journey woven with soul. Your subscription is more than a number. It's the fire that keeps my pen moving, my voice telling these tales, and our family growing. Now breathe deeply, open your heart, and let's step into today's story together. Binna had dreamed endlessly of this moment, walking down the aisle, not only as a bride, but as a woman whose heart had finally found its forever home. Every detail of the day had been etched with hope. The roses that framed the golden arch where she would stand, bathed in filtered sunlight spilling through the grand cathedral's dome. Her gown was delicate and pure, clinging softly to her form as if it too understood the sacredness of the day. Her long, straight black hair shimmered as it cascaded over her shoulders, smooth as silk and stirred gently by the breeze like whispers of faith. Her wide almond eyes, holding whole galaxies of dreams, scanned the aisle with trembling hope, framed by brows that held both strength and grace. She looked every bit a queen awaiting her king, but the silence stretched unbearably thin, like a violin string pulled too tight. Guests exchanged confused glances, discomfort growing with each passing second. Her fingers clenched the bouquet tightly. The white roses that once symbolized purity now pressed thorns into her palm, warning her of the coming heartbreak. Still, she stood proud, breath held along with the room, waiting for footsteps that would never come. Inside, a part of her heart stopped ticking, as if time itself recoiled from the truth about to unfold. When the silence finally broke, it shattered her world like glass. A whisper spread. "He's not coming." A bridesmaid gasped. A cousin shifted uneasily, and the wedding planner nearly dropped her clipboard in shock. Someone's phone camera clicked, not capturing union, but abandonment. Her heart plummeted so suddenly it left her breathless. It wasn't just his absence, it was what that absence screamed to her. She wasn't enough. Something had failed. All her worth, wrapped in lace and dreams, had been weighed and dismissed. Her lips trembled in a silent quake, shame curling cold and paralyzing up her spine, gripping her chest. It seeped into her skin, turning warmth to chill as grief touched every inch of her being. Her eyes blinked back tears, but they fell anyway, slow, shimmering, and full of silent questions. How do you stand when your soul collapses? How do you smile when the man who vowed to protect your heart walks away without a word? The room buzzed with awkward tension. Friends exchanged uneasy glances. One woman pulled out her phone. Whether to text sympathy or gossip, Binta would never know. A child behind whispered to their mother, "Why is the pretty lady crying?" She shifted slightly, feeling the weight of all those eyes. Pity, confusion, judgment. Her feet itched to flee, to run from the altar, turned stage of humiliation. Her legs trembled beneath the burden of betrayal. A single tear slipped down her cheek, landing softly on the pure white fabric of her gown, a stain louder than any scream. The urge to run overwhelmed her. Her hand dropped the bouquet. White petals scattered like fallen promises onto the floor. Her body twisted, about to vanish from this nightmare, satin and stilettos abandoned. Then came the movement. A ripple of gasps swept the guests as a tall man rose from the third row. Not family, not a known friend. Dressed in a sleek black suit that fit him like fate itself. His steps were calm and certain, commanding a hush over the room. His dark hair was tousled perfectly, like a wind-kissed art piece, and a neatly trimmed beard framed a strong jaw. Shadow meeting moonlight. But it was his eyes, deep sapphire blue, burning like a fire, that stole breaths. He walked down the aisle with quiet intent, not arrogance, each step pushing back judgment and replacing it with awe. Some thought him savior, others madman. No one moved, not even Binta. Her breath caught as he neared, body frozen between confusion and anticipation. Who was he? Why did he walk to her like he belonged? When he reached her, he spoke no word. His hand rose slowly, reverently, as if touching her was both honor and vow. With gentle knuckles, he brushed away a tear on her cheek, a touch so soft it could be mistaken for a breeze. Binta flinched, not from fear but shock at the tenderness. Her lips parted, heart confused, soul stirred. He leaned in closer than any stranger should. Yet somehow, he felt like the only stranger she could trust. His lips met hers in a kiss that began softly, a breath of warmth against the cold void left by betrayal. The room froze in stunned silence. A gasp, a dropped champagne flute. But neither Binta nor the stranger noticed. That kiss wasn't passionate or desperate. It was healing. His lips didn't demand. They offered. They honored. In that moment, he gave her what she hadn't known she was bleeding for. Dignity, rescue, a hand to hold when the world turned away. As he pulled back, his blue eyes searched hers, silently asking if she was okay. She had no words, but for the first time since her world shattered, her heart felt seen. She didn't know his name. She didn't know why he did it. But in the broken remains of her dream wedding, Binta saw something unexpected. Fate, the kind that walks into your storm and hushes the chaos. The crowd remained frozen, unsure what had just happened. Then Robin, though she didn't know his name yet, bent down, picked up the bouquet she'd dropped, and gently placed it back in her hands. His voice was low, rich like velvet dipped in steel. "No one walks away from a queen like you," he said, eyes locked on hers. And just like that, the room ceased to matter. Whispers faded, pain dulled, because someone had stepped in, not just to save her, but to honor her in the most unexpected way. She was left, but not alone. The stunned silence still hung as Robin placed the bouquet into Binta's trembling hands. Her fingers closed slowly, unsure if she held flowers or fragments of broken dreams. The kiss still tingled on her lips. Not shock, but a strange warmth awakening inside her. A feeling born from something beautiful growing out of devastation. Robin's touch lingered, not possessive, but steady, respectful, protective. The murmurs behind them blurred to nothing. In their quiet bubble, Robin offered his hand again. Not as a stranger, but as someone who had been waiting for this moment all along. Though her mind screamed, no, she didn't even know his name. Her hand moved by instinct, slipping into his like pieces of a puzzle finally fitting. He didn't smile. Instead, he nodded once, blue eyes steady in quiet assurance. Then he turned and led her down the aisle. Not as a bride walking to a groom, but as a woman choosing to walk away from her pain. Binta held her gaze forward, refusing to meet the pity and disbelief around her. Robin's solid presence shielded her from the emotional bullets flying every which way. The cathedral doors opened wide and fresh air poured in like a blessing. Warm sunlight kissed her tear-streaked face. Robin held her hand firmly to the steps, where a sleek jet-black car waited, humming softly, as if it too understood the gravity of the moment. A suited driver opened the rear door without hesitation, eyes flickering in subtle recognition at Robin, but silent. Robin helped Binta inside carefully, not rushing, not pushing, offering silent strength. She slid into the leather seat, the dress folding awkwardly beneath her, but she didn't care. Her mind spun, heart pounding, yet beneath the chaos, a calm whisper emerged. Maybe, just maybe, this man wasn't here to break her, but to build something she hadn't yet understood. Robin settled beside her. The door closed with a soft thud, muffling the outside world's judgment. Tinted windows cocooned them in an intimate hush. For a long moment, Binta couldn't speak. Her fingers clutched the bouquet loosely, the petals now wilted from the heat and pressure of the day. She looked at the stranger who'd kissed her publicly and whisked her away like a scene from a movie. the weight of it all pressed down on her chest. "Who are you?" she finally whispered, voice shaky but not scared, just exhausted. Robin turned slowly, calm and unreadable as ever, a controlled power that only men like him seemed to hold. "Robin Hayes," he said, voice smooth and low like dark honey. "And maybe," he added with a faint smile, "your second chance." Binta's eyes searched his, confusion painted on her face like fine brushstrokes. Second chance? What did that even mean? She wanted to ask more, but the words tangled in her throat. Her heart, stomped on just minutes before, was now being coaxed to beat again by a man who'd turned her world upside down with a kiss. "Why?" she whispered, barely audible. "Why would you do that? You don't even know me." Robin leaned back, eyes never leaving hers. "Because no woman deserves humiliation like that," he said softly but firmly. "And when I saw you standing there, like a goddess wrapped in heartbreak, I knew I couldn't just stand by and do nothing." His voice didn't waver. Something in his words told her dignity mattered more than public opinion. Binna's throat tightened. For so long she'd been told to be perfect, poised, pleasing. But in Robin's gaze there was no pressure, only presence. He wasn't expecting her to smile or be graceful. He was simply showing up. And for some reason, that made her chest ache. The car glided through the city, tall buildings flashing by, while lives unaware of Binta's unraveling went about their days. She stared ahead, silence filling the space. Not awkward, but full of questions, and strangely, comfort. Robin glanced at her, reading the quiet. "If you want to go somewhere else, I can take you," he offered gently. "A hotel, a friend's place, wherever you need." Binta turned, surprised by the lack of assumption. "Where are you taking me?" she asked, not afraid but genuinely curious. "Somewhere quiet," he replied. "Just to breathe. No decisions yet. You've already been through enough." She swallowed hard, eyes closing briefly. Not to sleep, but to reset. Robin's words weren't cloaked in charm or seduction. They were simple, and that made them powerful. "Thank you," she whispered, not because she understood, but because she felt what it meant to be saved, even if only from humiliation. "You didn't have to do that back there," she added, opening her eyes to meet his. Robin's expression softened for the first time. "Maybe I didn't," he said, "but I wanted to. And if it was me, waiting for someone who never came, I'd want someone to remind me I still deserve love." The word love landed gently, like a seed in broken soil, not yet blooming but nestled in quiet luxury. The car eased into a circular driveway and came to a gentle stop. Robin stepped out first, then circled to open her door himself, not the driver. That small, unexpected gesture from a man who clearly wielded wealth and authority touched her more than she anticipated. She stepped out slowly, the fresh air brushing her skin, and followed him up the marble steps into a grand open foyer. Inside, the space was minimalist yet warm, bathed in natural light that spilled through high windows, mingling with wood and stone. "You can rest here," Robin said, leading her to a cozy lounge with plush seating and floor-to-ceiling windows framing a quiet garden. "No one will bother you, no questions, no expectations." Binta let her gaze wander, absorbing how far she'd come, from abandoned at an altar to standing in a stranger's home. A man who saw her pain and offered sanctuary instead of sympathy. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, still needing to hear it. Robin's eyes grew serious. "Because I see something in you. Something strong. The man who left you was a fool. He didn't just leave a woman behind. He left a storm, a fire, a woman worthy of so much more." His words wrapped around her like silk, warm, not suffocating. She sank onto the sofa, the weight of the moment settling over her. Robin stayed nearby, a quiet strength. Not pressing, just steady. For the first time since her world had shattered, Binta didn't feel broken. She felt seen, deeply, truly. As the sun dipped, casting golden light through the windows, she finally whispered, "I want to get out of this dress." Robin nodded, pointing toward a room upstairs. "Second door on the right. Fresh clothes there. You'll be comfortable." Upstairs, the room was simple and warm. Soft linens, muted tones, and a wardrobe with cozy clothes waiting for her. She slipped out of the wedding gown, letting it fall with quiet release, not regret, and dressed in comfort. Back downstairs, her hair loose, face bare, she carried only herself, and that was enough. Robin's gaze softened, though he said nothing. "Ready?" he asked gently. "Where are we going?" "Nowhere loud. Just a drive. Fresh air, city lights, a chance to let the weight lift for a while." The car slid through the evening, soft music humming low. Binta watched the city's glow, feeling peace settle inside her like a balm. Robin's presence was calm, steady, a quiet check-in that made her feel seen without pressure. "You don't have to talk," he said after a while. "Just breathe. That's enough." Tears came, not sharp or painful, but warm and cleansing. She let them fall freely, safe for the first time in a long time. Robin reached for her hand, slow, open, inviting. Their fingers intertwined naturally, as if they'd done so before. A piece of her heart unclenched. "Thank you," she whispered. "I didn't do anything special," he replied softly. "I just didn't walk away. Sometimes that's enough." The car wound toward the coastline, where city lights faded into ocean darkness. At a quiet overlook, Robin parked and opened the door. The cool night air wrapped around her like a promise as they stood side by side, the ocean stretching before them like a secret. "I used to come here when the world got too loud," he said. "Sometimes silence is what we need to hear." Binta nodded, eyes tracing the horizon. They stood close but not crowded, just two souls sharing a quiet moment, scars complementing rather than clashing. Robin brushed a strand of hair from her face, gentle, reverent. "You're strong, you know, even if you don't feel it now." She stepped closer, her shoulder touching his. No words were needed. It wasn't a love story yet, but a beginning, built on presence, on the choice to stay when walking away was easier. Under the moonlight, their fingers found each other again. For the first time in a long while, Binta wasn't afraid. She wasn't alone. His heartbeat thrummed beneath her cheek, steady, unwavering, a silent vow that in this moment, at least, she was safe. The rain's rhythm, once a harsh drum against the windows, softened into a gentle lullaby, weaving itself around their stillness like a tender benediction. She felt the tight coil inside her loosen, the weight she'd carried for so long beginning to lift, if only just a little. Robin's arms tightened, not to confine but to hold, a quiet strength that said without words, "I'm here. You don't have to be afraid." Her breath found its pace again, slow and steady, syncing with the rhythm of the storm outside and the calm inside him. For the first time in what felt like forever, she allowed herself to just be. No defenses, no masks, just two broken souls meeting in a fragile space of healing. The thunder rumbled again, low and approving, as if the sky itself celebrated this fragile peace. And in the warmth of his embrace, Binta realized something profound. Sometimes the most powerful beginnings come not with fireworks, but with the courage to be vulnerable, to stand close enough to feel another's heartbeat, and to know you're not alone. They stayed like that, wrapped in the quiet symphony of rain and heartbeats, until the storm passed and the promise of a new day whispered through the windows. His fingers gently pushed back the damp strands of her hair, soothing away the tension. "You're safe," he murmured, lips brushing her forehead as he held her close. "You're not alone anymore." She clung to him, not out of desperation but recognition. This connection was the grounding she'd longed for. Lightning flashed, briefly illuminating the room. She lifted her face. Robin's eyes held something raw and real. No words were needed. The rain drummed its ancient rhythm against the glass. Her lips parted slightly, and he met her instinctive lean with a tentative, searching kiss that quickly deepened into something fierce and true. A kiss born from survival, heartbreak, and hope. It whispered, "I see you," and shouted, "I want all of you." Their bodies moved in quiet surrender, tasting sorrow and sweetness, fire and forgiveness. Her hands clutched his shirt, tethering herself to this moment as the storm raged outside. But inside, the world had narrowed to just them. Robin pulled back, voice thick with emotion. "That was more than I expected." She nodded, heart pounding. "It was everything I didn't know I needed." He brushed a damp strand from her cheek. "Stay," he whispered, not because he saved her, but because this, his hand over her heart, felt like home. She rose on her toes and kissed him again, slower now, savoring the comfort of finally being seen. Outside, the rain washed the sky clean, baptizing the beginning of something neither dared name. In his arms, she no longer flinched at thunder or storms. Hands steady and strong, a shelter in the storm. "Your scars," he said softly, "are the map that brought me to you. They don't make you broken. They make you whole, because they're part of your story, part of us." Binta's breath caught in her throat, the weight of years lifting with the tenderness in his voice. In that moment, the villa, the island, the world beyond all faded away, leaving only two hearts stitched together by trust and unwavering love. Days bled into weeks, their rhythms sinking like the tides. They woke with the sun, the warmth of each other's skin a daily prayer. Robin surprised her with tiny gifts. A single bloom picked from the garden, a pressed leaf, a poem scrawled on delicate parchment. Each one a quiet testament to a love no longer whispered, but declared. One evening, as the horizon burned gold and pink, Binta stood on the balcony, the ocean breeze tangling her curls. Robin came up behind her, slipping his arms around her waist, his voice low and reverent. "You've given me a new story, Binta. One where love is not a performance but a sanctuary." She leaned into him, eyes shimmering with unshed tears of joy. "And you've shown me how to believe again, not just in love, but in myself." Their laughter mingled with the crashing waves, a symphony of healing and hope. Under the vast sky, with stars witnessing their promise, they stepped into a future unburdened by past shadows, their hearts blazing bright. A love story no one could rewrite or undo, because it was theirs alone, real and unbreakable. With a steady, unwavering voice, he said, "You are not broken. You are whole, because every piece of your story is part of who you are, and I love all of it." Those words became the foundation of their new reality, a place where love was no longer a gamble, but a guarantee. As the sun dipped each evening in a blaze of fiery colors, they sat together on the deck, hands intertwined, knowing that no matter what storms might come, they had already weathered the fiercest, the fear of being truly loved. And as they drifted to sleep each night, hearts full and spirits light, the quiet peace surrounding them was more than a fleeting moment. It was the dawn of a lifetime where truth had strengthened their bond, and love was no longer a fragile hope, but a fierce, unbreakable flame. As the golden hues of dusk softened into the gentle blues of early evening, Robin and Binta stood beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient blooming tree, nestled in the heart of the island's secluded garden, untouched by time and indifferent to the outside world. Here, where the scent of jasmine and gardenias mingled with the soft ocean breeze, they chose to bind their souls once more, not before a crowd, not under the gaze of strangers, but in sacred solitude belonging only to them. The soft rustle of leaves overhead seemed to carry nature's blessing, as if the earth itself conspired to keep this moment pure, intimate, and timeless. Binta's golden gown shimmered subtly in the fading light, its delicate threads catching the last rays of the sun like woven stardust. It perfectly complemented the radiant warmth of her smooth brown skin. Her straight hair, glowing with chestnut and gold, cascaded over her shoulders like a river of sunlight, framing her face with effortless grace and serene beauty. There was a quiet confidence in her stance, a calm joy that shone from deep within, the kind born of knowing this union was rooted in truth and unwavering love. Robin, dressed simply yet impeccably in crisp white linens, looked every bit the man transformed, not by wealth or status, but by a heart softened and shaped by the woman beside him. His dark eyes, steady and clear, held a fierce tenderness reserved only for her, the only person who had ever truly seen and understood him. As they faced each other, the world seemed to shrink until it was just the two of them, a heartbeat suspended in time. Without words, they reached for each other's hands, their touch warm and electrifying, a silent vow of presence and devotion. The ceremony was unlike any other, stripped of grandiosity or spectacle, yet filled with a power no crowd could replicate. Robin's voice was low and steady, carrying the weight of promises made not for appearances, but for eternity. I vow to cherish you, not just the parts you show the world, but every fragment you guard in silence. I will be the arms you lean on when the world feels too heavy, the heart that beats only for you when shadows creep in. No matter what life brings, I will walk beside you, hand in hand, heart with heart. Binta's eyes glistened with tears, not sorrow or fear, but pure gratitude and love. Her voice trembled as she replied, "Thank you for walking toward me when everyone else turned away. Thank you for seeing me, for loving the parts of me others never tried to understand. This is our promise, to be brave, to be honest, to hold each other in both light and darkness." As the last words left her lips, Robin brought her hands to his mouth, pressing gentle kisses to each palm. Tender, sacred acts conveying his deepest reverence and adoration. Then with a softness that made Binta's breath hitch, he leaned forward and kissed her lips, a kiss carrying all the joy, pain, hope, and promise of every moment they had shared and would share. It was a kiss that sealed their commitment, not just with words, but with the language of the soul. When they parted, the world seemed to exhale. The leaves danced in celebration, and the first stars began to shimmer overhead like scattered diamonds on velvet. They moved into their dance, barefoot on the soft grass, the cool earth grounding them in a moment wholly theirs. There was no music, only the symphony of nature, the whispering wind, the distant crash of waves, the gentle chorus of crickets waking for the night. Their laughter rose and fell, light and unburdened, echoing through the garden with the joy of two hearts finally free to love without fear or pretense. Robin twirled Binta gently, her gown flowing around her like liquid gold, their movements fluid and effortless as if they had always been a single melody made flesh. In those stolen moments, the world beyond the garden's edge ceased to exist. The ambitions, the judgments, the past mistakes left behind, like footprints washed away by the tide. What remained was a raw, unfiltered connection, a celebration of the journey they had traveled to arrive here together. Binta's smile was radiant, her eyes sparkling with unshed tears and laughter, born from a place deeper than happiness, a contentment born of belonging. Robin's gaze never wavered from her, filled with the kind of love that is patient, kind, and unwavering. It was not the perfect wedding others might imagine. No hundreds of guests applauding their union, no elaborate decorations or grand halls filled with music and chatter. Instead, there was profound intimacy, a quiet power in choosing each other when the world had seemed to turn away. It was a moment of clarity, a celebration stripped to the essentials: love, trust, and the sacred promise to face everything together. As night deepened and stars wheeled overhead, their silver light bathed the garden in a soft glow, making Binta's skin shimmer and Robin's dark eyes gleam with wonder. Leaning against the sturdy trunk of the tree, their fingers intertwined like roots digging deep into the soil of their shared life, they spoke of everything and nothing, dreams still held, fears lingering at the edges, and the simple joy of being together without reservation or hesitation. Robin's voice was soft as he confessed how, for the first time in his life, he no longer felt the gnawing ache of loneliness, how her presence filled the hollow spaces in his heart, turning broken fragments into a mosaic of hope. Binta listened, her heart swelling with the knowledge that this love was rare and precious, a gift that had taken time, patience, and courage to claim. She reached up to touch his cheek, fingers tracing contours so familiar, so beloved. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "Our journey has only just started. Whatever comes, we face it together." Robin nodded, his smile full of promises and strength. "Forever, Binta. This time forever." In the quiet hours that followed, the night wrapped them in a cocoon of peace and possibility. They lay beneath the tree, the fragrance of blossoms mingling with their steady breaths. Bodies pressed close in a tender embrace that spoke of commitment and deep, abiding love. There was a softness to their touch, an unspoken understanding that they had found in each other the home they long sought. A sanctuary where flaws were accepted, scars healed, and love flourished without condition. As dawn approached, casting pale light across the garden, Robin and Binta finally drifted into peaceful sleep, hearts bound and spirits intertwined. Their second wedding was not a public spectacle, but a profound declaration witnessed only by the trees, the stars, and the whispering wind. It was a celebration of two hearts that had weathered storms, refused to give up even when hope seemed distant. It was theirs, imperfect, beautiful, and enduring. From that day forward, every glance, every touch, every shared breath carried the weight of their promises. They moved forward not as two lost souls, but as one, a united force shaped by love's power and resilience. And in the quiet moments between life's chaos, beneath the shade of that blooming tree, they would always remember the night when nothing else mattered but the simple truth of their love, pure, fierce, and everlasting. Years unfolded like a slow, beautiful melody since that tender day beneath the blooming tree, where Robin and Binta vowed their love in whispers only the wind could carry. Their lives, once tangled in shadows of pain and harsh public scrutiny, had transformed into a symphony of quiet joy and deep connection. The mansion they called home stood proudly by the sea, a sprawling testament to their journey, a fusion of glass, stone, and warmth inviting light and love in equal measure. Each morning, golden sunlight poured through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting intricate patterns on polished wood floors and igniting the emerald leaves of indoor plants thriving under Binta's tender care. It was in this serene sanctuary that their twin daughters, two lively spirits with wild curly hair and eyes as bright as dawn, filled the space with infectious laughter and boundless energy. Their tiny feet padded across plush rugs, chasing one another in gleeful pursuit, their joyous squeals echoing like a chorus of innocence and hope. Watching them, Binta felt overwhelming gratitude, a love so profound it nearly took her breath away. She remembered the long nights spent wondering if happiness was possible after heartbreak, the moments when despair clung like a heavy cloak. Yet here she was, surrounded by love that bloomed more richly than she had dared to dream. Often she sat by the window in early dawn, the soft hum of the sea mingling with distant calls of exotic birds, the air fragrant with salt and blooming jasmine from the garden below. Wrapped in Robin's arms, she allowed herself to be still, letting calm seep into her bones, a stark contrast to the storm she had weathered. Robin's presence was a constant reassurance, a warm anchor in life's shifting tides. His touch was both tender and possessive, a silent vow renewed with every caress. His lips often grazed the curve of her neck or the gentle swell of her shoulder, speaking a language only they understood, words of devotion, promises of forever. One morning as the sky blushed with the first hints of sunrise, Binta turned in his embrace, eyes sparkling with playful mischief. "Do you ever regret kissing a stranger?" she whispered, the memory of that impulsive, fateful kiss alive in her heart. Robin's smile was slow, warm, reaching his eyes and making them shine like polished sapphires. Leaning in, he pressed a feather-light kiss beneath her ear, his breath a gentle caress. "That kiss saved me," he replied, voice thick with emotion, confessing the truth of his soul. The memory of that night, the feel of her silk dress, the shimmer of tears in her eyes, and the steady resolve in her gaze had never left him. It was a moment that marked the beginning of everything, the spark igniting a flame that burned brighter with every day. Binta had risen from the ruins of a shattered past to claim a throne, not one of wealth or status, but of love's unyielding power. She was royalty in the purest sense, an empress of hearts crowned by the unwavering affection and respect of a man who cherished her entirely. Every day, Robin showed her this truth, not with grand declarations or extravagant gifts, but in small sacred moments. The gentle brush of a stray curl from her face, the soft squeeze of his hand when words were unnecessary, the way he looked at her as if she were the only person in the world who mattered. Their love was a tapestry woven from countless threads of tenderness, passion, and unwavering support. Despite lives of luxury and comfort, it was these quiet intimacies that formed the bedrock of their bond. Together, they built a life celebrating vulnerability instead of fearing it, embracing imperfections rather than hiding them. Challenges arose, of course, moments when the outside world threatened their sanctuary. But within these walls, love reigned supreme. Their daughters grew knowing what true love looked like, steady, patient, and fierce in its protection. Binta watched them flourish with pride, knowing every smile was a testament to the legacy of healing and hope she and Robin had created. One particular afternoon remained etched in her memory, a day bathed in golden late summer light. The girls played near the infinity pool, their laughter mingling with the